but literally just yesterday, a like another one of these rebase coins was launched, and it was called Yam. It was actually this crazy situation. Like, this was actually one of the craziest things I've ever seen in crypto. And what's so crazy and and also with there's so many unknowns, there's so many risks that I'm not really, like, with Yam and even Ample too, I'm not really betting on the fundamentals on these. I'm really just betting on, like, the herd hysteria, because, like, people are going crazy with this stuff. Like, everybody, like, this rebase thing, like, it was actually a pretty surreal feeling. So, like, just for instance, Yam, like, on their site, they, like, remind you that this is experimental. Today, there was a bug that they found that could have locked up part of how Yam works. Like, this is so funny. Like, today, literally, it was like the funniest thing to unfold, because, like, last night, like, if we just look at all of these, like, like all these tweets about Yam, starting from about yesterday. Let's see if we can, like, last night, everyone I saw one person start tweeting about Yam, and then I just looked it up, and because I was looking for, like, kind of like, a DeFi thing that hasn't already been pumped yet. And so Yam, like, kind of fit that criteria. And what's so crazy is that, like, last night, like I bought some Yam, then I saw every big, like, Twitter account talking about Yam. And then Yam ended up, like, the way that Yam works is they have these farms. And so you can deposit any of these different cryptos. Like, there's Maker, there's SNX, Lend, Link, Comp, even the Ample, like, all these different coins you can stake here and then earn Yam for staking it. I actually have some in, let's take a look at this. In this link, like, I have some Link staked in here that, that I'm earning Yam on. This is yield farming, but in this case, I didn't borrow the Link to earn this yield. Like, I just bought the Link. So there's all the, like, this is, like, part of Yam's product is, like, you can, like, stake these things. You're really providing liquidity. You're like, and then you're able to earn Yam. So, like, there's all this, like, kind of hysteria around Yam. They got something like $500 million of assets in here. Trying to find, like, older ones, but, like, all these people were like, buying Yam, and that was what was pushing the price up. And then it was so funny, like, Yam, like, on their site, like, when you first land on it, it pretty much said, like, and on their, like, their Twitter, they, like, continue to reiterate that it's, like, here, let's go back, like, way before. So they launched with just, like, so August 3rd was when the Yam thing, Twitter went live. So on August 11th, so yesterday, they tweet, we are serious about this being an experiment and the code being unaudited. Please exercise some caution. They tweeted this because there was millions of dollars of, let's see if we can find the, like, over, like, 21 hours ago, over $300 million of crypto assets were locked in these farms. Like, people were yield farming with $300 million worth of funds.
Wait, what do you mean lost? Just because it went down?
It's just an experiment, guys.
So, like, Yam, like, they just reiterate, like, that they, like, built this. It's not audited, and, like, things could, like, use at your own risk, pretty much is what they're saying. Like, it's brand new, and people put a lot of money into it, just, like, purely on the meme of, like, Yams. Like, Yam, just, like, easy to say, kind of sounds like Ample, and Ample just had, like, because people made a ton of money on Ample, like, during that whole rebase thing. So, so, like, people were just kind of looking for, like, the next version of that. And Yam just kind of, like, literally, like, last night kind of popped up as this thing. And so, but today, what's so funny, like literally like last night, I'm like watching this unfold. Yams like going up in price, people are going crazy, like saying like, oh, the rebase is going to be like 10x, because the price was so high, like the price was at like $100 and price wants to be at $1. So the like the rebase was going to be really high. And I think people were expecting the rebase to be really high and then price not to move. But what ended up happening was the price did move. Like the rebase was so high that it really moved the price down. Like when Ample was like increasing the supply, people were just continuing to hold it. But maybe because this was so big, it was quickly sold down to kind of be closer to the peg, like the target peg rate. But like today, Yam figured out that there was a bug in not in like the rebase part of the code, but there's this like other part of the system that it's related to governance. So Yam is like the combination of Ample and some other coin that I forgot what it was. I think YFI, and where they took Ample's supply, like they took Ample's monetary policy, but they took the governance model of this other coin, and the governance model sets how like Yam operates this liquidity pool. So there's Yam and then there's YCRV. So Curve is this other like decentralized smart contract exchange platform for stablecoins. And so Yam like has this like other thing that's like involved in this, which I don't understand at this point. But apparently there was a bug that was going to cause a lot of the money that was going to somehow be given to Yam holders through like this like liquidity pool thing. They accidentally printed too many Yam, but not in a wallet that anyone can access, and the wallet disrupts the voting, and so the governance system where like people with Yam could vote on like how that like Yam liquidity pool was going to operate. It would be impossible to do votes because there's like pretty much like a blank address that has like a massive majority of the total supply. And so like literally like just a bug in their unaudited code that's like related to this like other part of the system that it doesn't have anything to do with the rebases. It mainly has to do with this like Yam YCRV liquidity pool. So this one, like this, they call it eternal lands. This is like it's a liquidity pool for Yam. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah. So like, I don't know. I don't know if this one in particular is it, but like this bug in their code was going to interrupt with this. So not like the rebase thing, which is kind of what drew me to it, but there's this other thing that like people were hoping to like earn yield on that might not work because there's a bug in their code. And the only way to solve it would be for people to use the governance model, like this like system of voting where if you have Yam, you can like cast votes on certain things. You would have to vote on a change that they could implement that would fix the problem. And then like, or else unless this like next rebase happens before this problem is fixed, that whole like extra part of Yam that like makes it not just like ample is not going to work. Like literally it'll be frozen. Like and like a lot of money might get locked up. So it's actually this like crazy thing that's unfolding as we speak, where Yam had a bug. It didn't break like the rebase portion, but the like this other part of the system will be broken, and so they literally like in order and cast votes to allow the like this governance system to update something in here that will apparently fix the problem. Like I don't even know, like it's like I don't even really know what is wrong with it, but they need people to use their Yam that they have to vote. Pretty much people need to vote to save the protocol. And it's so funny because like just last night there was all this hysteria around Yam, and then there's some issue, and now it's literally up to the community to cast votes. They need 160,000 votes delegated, which comes out to 1.5 million Yam.
Wow, that seems unfortunate for them. Like, very sort of interesting.
It's like, and it has to happen an hour, but like it's literally like there's a countdown, and it's so funny because like one, it's just like this just literally like I started this last night at like midnight. Like I saw Yam, I wanted to ride the like rebase pump, and then this issue appears that where I don't even know if it's really the worst thing, because the thing that it shuts off I think has nothing to do with Yam at all. Like it more has to do with like this particular yield farm on Yam, but like the Yam rebase will work the same. So like on one hand, it cuts off your, like one way to earn yield in Yam. But like the whole rebase thing is, I think, really the interesting part of it. And
so you're saying you can no longer access the eternal lands.
Yeah. Like that's for as far as I understand, this is the only thing that would stop. Like, because like, I think this is the thing that's at risk. And so like, and so like so what they need to do is they need people to sit like, you're not like you keep your Yam, you just delegate your votes. So like by holding Yam, you get votes in this governance system that like operates that liquidity pool. Like this liquidity pool, it's operated by, it's called a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. And you use it by like voting with like the crypto. And so they need to get 100,000 more votes in or else.
How optimistic are you?
I don't know. This is like, so I have no idea. I'm so intrigued by how this is going to play out, and I don't have enough money in it to where it like is going to hurt me. I don't like this is very tiny peanuts of just this like risk money part to like understand this part, take the risk on like the rebase thing. So I'm not worried. I would be worried if I had a lot of money in here. But so I don't know, but on the other hand, like maybe getting rid, like pretty much what I think it'll do is it'll just like lock up this governance model. And like, maybe that's not the worst thing. So I don't know. I'm still waiting to see. Let's see if we can, let's do a little digging here. Let's find the Yam contract. That is so funny. 7,200 addresses. Let's look at the holders. I think I saw something that like everyone's appears as 0. Yeah, because what happened was that they minted a whole bunch of Yam and deposited it in, accidentally made it go in this wallet. Something stupid like that. And so I don't know, like this is going to be one of the craziest things to watch play out. But the thing here's part of why I haven't delegated. One, like, I don't know if I really care to save it. I don't know how big of a difference mine is going to make. When you go to delegate, look at the gas fee to do this. $32. Like, because the gas fees are so high right now, because just all the DeFi craziness.
This farm might experience a drought.
Yikes, $32. Wow.
Yeah, and so I don't know what's gonna happen. I think that Yam, so what's crazy is that Yam may, like kind of what they were trying to do with Yam may fail, but even if that happens, Yam will still continue to exist. Like it like can't be like shut down. Like it'll still just like operate, but and maybe something will be interfered, like with the rebase will be interfered with, because they announced this bug and then the first rebase worked, but I think that first rebase is what broke it. So Yam may continue to operate, or like as a smart contract, and if it pretty much has the same like Ample, because like the Yam rebase is pretty much a carbon copy of Ample. So if if Ample, or if Yam follows that same type of like market structure where it spends time above with positive rebase and spends time below with negative rebase, we might see that just play out on the Yam chart as well, where this is just like the first day of it, but where maybe Yam spends some time above, and then it'll spend some time below the target. Just kind of oscillating between these two areas, and it might be like a crazy meme in this whole experience. Like this whole, it literally came out of nowhere, drew in a ton of money. Had a bug that like still no one's really that clear if it's gonna like really destroy it. So here's where they're saying what they have to do to fix it. Set rebase to 0. This will pause the rebases to allow them to implement the full fix. Reset Yam in Yam reserves to 0. This will eliminate the overinflated Yam in the Yam reserves. So pretty much they're I think this is the Yam reserves. They overinflated this address. Like this has 32, how many zeros? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. Okay, so 369 billion. 369 billion. So like 32 million billion billions. It like they overinflated to like their own reserve. And so this is just going to fuck up it's going to fuck something up with whatever that Yam reserves thing, whatever role that plays in all this. It'll just mess everything up. So they need to reach 35,000 Yam delegated to this deployer address. And so they need 35,000 to approve this, like submitting this proposal, and then they need 140,000 to approve it. And so like they need all the YAM holders to come in here and delegate their YAM. So what you're pretty much doing is like, you don't, like your YAM you don't need to vote on your YAM. Like you can delegate your YAM votes to another YAM address. So like I could just delegate my YAM here to this. But I don't know if I want to pay $32 to save, what, like, that's some interesting game theory. Do you, pay $32, so, that's almost like, I don't know, like maybe 6 or 8% of all that I have, in YAM. Like, do I take that 6% loss to try to contribute to YAM and save YAM? Or do we just think, do we think that like, the YAM whales are going to come in and save this? Right? Like, so
The yam whale.
these YAM whales. So yeah, I'm really excited I'm going to be watching the clock and seeing how this plays out, because I think if this rebase happens before this, I think it'll be impossible to stop. So we will see. And then the question is like say if YAML fails, what's going to happen to price? Like price could pump for some weird reason, like that, no one understands. Price could pump if like part of YAM fails, or it could go to zero. And, so like this whole concept of these like rebase coins, they're really exciting, but they're also really risky. And so that's why, like, unless you have like a strategy in place for like managing that risk, I usually wouldn't recommend people to be like really experimenting in these things, like unless you're like really know what you're doing, because like you don't want to risk your last $1,000 of Bitcoin on something like this. Like you only want to be investing in things like this if you have other Bitcoin that you can fall back on as collateral, so that if this trade doesn't go your way, you can use your existing collateral in order to spread that loss over a longer period of time. And if it is fixed, like if the YAM holders put together enough votes and they're able to fix the protocol, that could be super bullish for the price. Because like what that means is that like it has a community of people who have a vested interest in this working, who are willing to pay, what did we say that fee to save was? Earlier today when I was looking at it, it was like $6. Now it's like $33. Like that would like prove that there's like, like some community power there. There's some meme power there, like it's a great day to save YAM, and that could be really bullish for the price. So since I'm not really trying to accumulate a lot more YAM right now, I want the price to go up, because I probably want to be selling YAM before I buy more YAM. So I'm actually hoping for this to get saved. I don't know if I'm going to delegate my votes, but I'm actually hoping it gets saved, and that causes a crazy price pump, because people will be like, oh, the rebase is back on. And then that combined with people like, oh, they just saved this, there must be something here. Between all those things, I think people could be pushing the price up a lot higher. And then, because I had already gone through one positive rebase where my balance increased by 10x, if that can happen again, yes, please. Like, like now my balance will be up in total 100x from when I started. And if price continues to stay above the $1 target, then, that could turn into a pretty sizable return on investment. So I'm hoping for this to get saved. I'm not too worried if it doesn't, because it's like not that much money at all. And this is like, this is why it's important to have like a big like Bitcoin like collateral position, because then you can like afford to like take risk on like very high risk things that could, randomly just like pop off and be like the next big thing, kind of like what Hex was, like Hex was super risky at the start. And, I was able to, I wish I would have put more into it, but, I was very conservative with how, money I put into Hex. I was probably like, wasn't conservative enough. I probably put more than I otherwise would have. But since I've been following Hex for like over a year at that point, I was like already into it. So whereas Yam, like literally just came across me yesterday. So you can't put too much money in this because there's, you don't, the worst thing you do is lose money. But, just like being able to have a, like, like that's why like for most people, like before you can really get into some of these like deep in the weeds things, most people are better off just building up a Bitcoin position, add ETH, add some Hex, kind of like these ones that like are just good to hold anyways. And then when you have some of that, like just as like your backup, you can then start taking risk on some of these riskier things, which are still a lot of fun too. So it's definitely a crazy world. Like this is the Wild West, and these things are unfolding as we speak. Like this is all happening right now. Never happened before.